What's good, YouTube? You on the road again, driving. In this video, it's gonna tell you things that I wish I knew before I turned 18 or when I was 18, going out into the world, going into college. I went to ODU for a year and then COVID hit. And then after that, it was like, I went to college to get my life together, to, know what I was doing, because I didn't fully understand what I was doing. Coming out of high school and going into college. So I was like, let me go to college. Let me kind of, see what I like. I went for a business. That's so like vague. I didn't really go for anything specific. But I was like, if I find my passion and they don't need college, I'm gonna drop out. If I find my passion and they do need college, I'm already be in college, so I'm just continuing to go to college and switch my major over to that. But I really didn't know anything about money though. I was working at a grocery store. I think I made like $200 a week, if that. Like, I was young though. I was like 18, but I didn't know anything about money. I don't come from money. My family don't come from money. My mother, it's not her fault or any of my family's fault, because you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And I feel like my generation is the first generation to really like, okay, if we don't know something, we know how to get on YouTube. Like, we can go to YouTube University and Google. But, the generation before us, like our parents, are probably just more under that traditional way of thinking, because when they was 18 or early 20s, that was in the 90s, early 2000s. So that's when you just, went to work, and maybe you did this for work, maybe you did that for work, and it was just different. It wasn't like, I have a plethora of like options to look at to see what I want to do, or to research what I want to do. So yeah, man, we definitely in a better position than the last generation, and I want to be a part of that in terms of just putting out information for other people to consume, to get better and to be better. This is my financial journey, and I'm just recording it, and hopefully I have people that tag along, that watch this channel, that go up with me. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm not gonna talk too much. I already talked enough, so let's get into the video. Now, the first thing that I wish I knew coming out of high school is think long term. It's kind of hard because you're going into college, right? Or if you're not going into college, like you're 18, 19 years old, 17 years old, and you're going out into the world, quote unquote. And I would just think long term. I wouldn't think, what am I going to do for over the next, year, or even what I'm going to do over the next like 4 years. It's what am I going to do in my 20s? I would think like that. What am I going to do in my 20s to set myself up for my 30s? And that's how you should really think. And I know it might seem a little young, but we're gonna get into that. That's how you should think, because that's how the world works. Like, I heard somebody say, like, life is like it's like a lagging, not a revolving, but a lagging kind of thing, where whatever you do today won't show today. It's gonna show in the future. So you can work out, but you have to be consistent for a month. You're not gonna get instant results, but it's gonna show that second month. And if you work out for 2 months straight, it's gonna show that third month, and so on and so forth. And if you work out, you have to work out for that year and be consistent to see a real difference in a year. See what I'm saying? You can't be like on and off. Like, you just have to stay consistent, and it's gonna catch up. Like, the work is gonna catch up. So that's how the world works. Is I would think, what do I need to do in my 20s? And I would literally take it step by step, year by year. I know some people don't like to set expectations, because it's like, oh, what if I fail? Look at this Corvette. It's tough. This is my dream car. But hope y'all can see that. That's tough. But let me see who's in it. It's like a older man in there. And that's what, like, come on, man, I'm trying to have that by the time I'm like 25. I'm not trying to be 55 in a vet, man. I'm trying to be 55 in something serious. You see what I'm saying? But basically what put the camera here. Basically what I was saying is, like, think long term, like, okay, what am I going to do for my 20s? And then when you're in your 20s, you want to set yourself up. What am I going to do in my 20s to help me in a better place in my 30s? And then once you get in your 30s, okay, what can I do to put me in a better place in my 40s? And once you're in your 40s, et cetera, et cetera. What should I do to help me in a better place when I'm in my 50s? And that's why it's never too late to start, because if you're 25, 35, 45, you should be asking yourself, what should I do to help me in a decade? What should I do to help me in 10 years to be in a better place than I am now? Why it's important to think long term is because if you don't, you will end up working like a regular job. You end up paying bills and passing by, and those 10 years will go by. It has been 5 years, half a decade since I've been out of high school, which is crazy. It's been COVID. I've seen 2 presidents, I think, since I've been out of high school. It's like, it happened so fast. It happened so quick. I moved out when I was like 20 years old. I'm 23 now. It just went by like so fast. And now I'm halfway, I'm closer to 25 than I am 20 now, which is crazy, So like, I know when you're 18, you're like, oh, I'm young, oh, I have time, or I'm just go to college and figure out what I want to do, and I'll figure it out after college, or I'm going to college for this, but you don't have a plan for after college, or you have a plan for after college, but you don't have you know what you want to do for after college, but what are you going to do with that money? Okay, you want to go to college for 4 years, right? From when you're 18 to 22, you graduate, you get the job. Okay, you're 23, now you're just working a job. It can be a good paying job. It can be a 6-figure job. But what are you doing? What are you doing with that? You're gonna live off that? Like you should come up with a plan. Okay, when I graduate, I'm gonna go to school to graduate to get this job. When I get that job, I'm gonna do this with the money, so I'm in a better place in my 30s. Because if you get that job, you can be at that job. You look up and you're at that job for 10 years, and now you're in your early 30s, and now you're kind of lost because you're like, what should I do? Should I stay at this job for another 30 years? Making 6 figures? Okay, that's cool. You make 100 bands, you make 150. Okay, that's cool. You live a decent life. If that's what you want, then that's cool. Then that's what you want. But if you want more out of life, like, what are you gonna do after that? You're just gonna be working a corporate job, or you're gonna be working, one of those type of jobs where it's like you can elevate, but you're still working. Do you want to be financially free? Like, is that your plan? Do you want to have passive income? Do you want to have side hustles? Do you want to have, own businesses? Do you want your own clothing brand? Do you want to make music? Do you want to, whatever you want to do? Like, what is your passion? If your passion is to work, 50 years being a surgeon, if you're just so passionate about being a surgeon, you just love to study it, and you just love it, and you got to go to school 8 years for it, and you got to do this because you just love it and it's your passion, and that's all fine and dandy. Like, that's your passion. But if it's not, okay, you're getting a job, but how can you use that job to get in a better position so that you can actually do your passion? You see what I'm saying? These cars are crazy. Number 2 is don't rush to move out the crib. Do not rush to move out the crib. I wish I could have stayed longer and known what I know now. I would be in a way better position I am now. Like, I would have the car I want. I would have the crib I want. I would be in the place that I want to live. I would have the things that I want. I would have, like, tattoos. I would have everything I want, and I'm 23. If I knew what I knew now when I was 18. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, don't rush to move out. Now, I moved out when I was 20 years old because me and my mom weren't really, we've never really been, like, good to really, like, live in the same place or live under the same roof. And I don't want to say that in a bad way or, like, kind of put her in a bad light. And it's crazy I'm saying this on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, by the way. But let me, but because me and my mom, like, we kind of, like, bump heads a lot. Or at least we used to a lot. And it just wasn't good for me, like kind of mentally. And yeah, so I just felt like, I had to move out. Like, soon as I got enough money to move out, because, you got to have the times 3 of whatever your rent is. You got to make that monthly. So soon as I made, when I did DoorDash, like, soon as I kind of like went full time with it, and I made like $4,000 in a month, and my rent was like $1,100-1,200. As soon as I did that, I went out and I got a crib by that same week. Like, I went out, I tore one apartment, and I just knew it was I still lived there, and I just knew it was, the one I wanted to live in. I didn't even look at other apartments or anything. And I signed a lease there, and I moved in probably the next week, or whenever the next month was, whenever the next month came up. But I wouldn't suggest that though. Like, really, looking back on it, I would have just kind of took the arguing with my mom, or the bumping heads, or cause you know when you live with your mom, she says like, oh, this is my roof, like, you're under my roof, you're in my house, everything in here is mine, I paid for, and so you got to follow my rules, and da 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 da. And I was just like, man, I'm gonna get my own place then, So it was just like, I was 20 years old, I was moving into a city with more opportunity. Like I said, I was doing the DoorDash more, and I moved out to Virginia Beach, and it's like the biggest city in the 757. So there's more opportunity when it comes to the DoorDash than it was where I lived, kind of like 30-40 minutes away, a smaller town. So I knew that I would be like making consistent money out here, and a little bit more money out here. And it was a good place. It was kind of away from my hometown. Like I said, it was 30-40 minutes away. So I was like, I can go back anytime I want to. It's like right, it's right, down the highway. All I gotta do is take a straight path, and I'll be there in 30 minutes. But it was kind of just far enough for me to not see anybody that I went to school with, or grew up with, or things I wasn't familiar with. It was me getting used to something new, and that's what that's what I like to do. I like to, at times in my life, I like to just try something new, to kind of test me and challenge me, to get better and to get out of my comfort zone. That's how it was when I went to college. When I went to ODU, it's like a PWI, which I think means something white institution, a predominantly white institution, I think. And I didn't go to a HBCU. I had 3 offers. My first 2 offers was from a HBCU, Norfolk State and Virginia State, and my third and last offer was from ODU, and I chose ODU. My best friend was at VSU. I could have easily went there, and I was going there, but I decided to go to ODU because it's more diverse. There's a lot of black people there. It was a lot of black people there, but it wasn't like a HBCU, of course. Like, it wasn't any of the traditions. It wasn't 90% black. It was probably like 20% black, and 50% white, and 20% from people all over the country. So that's why I went there. And that's another thing, just push yourself out of your comfort zone, and keep that in mind as I'm going through these lists. So number 2 is don't rush to move out. I would say stay in and just stack your bread. Like, just stack your bread. Even if you stack to move out, I would suggest you like stack for a year. Like, when you move out, have a year worth of funds. So if it costs you, it's just easy math. I'm just doing easy math. If it costs you $1,000 in rent when you move out, save like $12,000, because that'll be rent, like $1,000 each month. And then I would say like, I'd probably say like save $15,000. So whatever your rent is going to be when you move out, I would say save that to the closest 5. So what I mean by that is, if rent is going to be $2,000 when you move out, and that's probably what it is now in a lot of places, for the people that's moving out of their parents' house, or just moving, getting out of college and moving into the real world and moving into real apartments. Like, the rent is probably close to $2,000 now. Like, it's so crazy. Or at least $1,500. I feel bad for the kids that's coming out now, because just a few years ago, like 5 years ago, when I was coming out, rent was, you can get I'm still in the same apartment. It was a nice apartment. It's 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. It's by the beach, like in a good city, in a good neighborhood. And it was like $1,150, I think $1,200 when I moved there. Now it's like $1,600. So it's crazy. But say your rent is $2,000. So 2,000 times 12 is 24,000. So I would save like the closest 5 is like 25,000. So I would dead ass save like 25,000 until I move out. And if you want to know how to do that, just go back to my previous videos on how you can save, you know, 10,000 a year, 10,000 in 6 months, 20,000 a year. How you can do that, you know, doing different things. And I would just do that, but I would still live with my mom, because you gotta remember, like, when you move out, it's no problem moving back in. Like, it's definitely no problem moving back in, but you kind of want to prevent that, though. Like, if you can not move back in after you move out, you probably should. And that probably just says, for the people that did that, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but for the people that did that, it's probably because they rushed out, one, or they wasn't kind of good with their finances and had to come back, and probably would have benefited from staying like longer with their parents. You see what I'm saying? So going back to saving 25,000, I know, you know, that's kind of probably like daunting to a lot of like 18 and, you know, 17-year-olds. Like, bro, how I'm gonna save 25,000? I'm never gonna move out. He tripping. He don't want me to move out another 5 years, you know. But two things I gotta say about that is, one, like I said, go to my other video. If you can do it on a low income salary, and you save $28 a day. If you do DoorDash, you can save $28 a day, $55 a day. And if you save $55 a day, you'll be making like $20,000 a year. If you save $28 a day, you can be making $10,000 a year. If you save $14 a day, which is half of 28, if you save $14 a day, if you can't DoorDash or Instacart, or for whatever reason you can't get no side hustle for whatever reason, and you just want to stay to your job, if you're making 50,000, if you're making like 30 to 50,000 at your job, you can save like $14 a day, or $14 times 7 every time you get your paycheck, or $14 times 14 if you get a bi-weekly paycheck, and save that. Let me see what that is. 14 times 7 equals 98. So save $100 every paycheck if you get it weekly. 14 times 14 equals 196. So save like $200 every paycheck if you get it bi-weekly. You might say that's a lot, but like I said, I'm not really gonna get into that because I got into that in the last video. So just go watch that on how to budget and how to save your money and all that. But speaking on that, the second thing I had to say on that was, man, if you're 18 and say, okay, people in my class graduated last year, right? So I didn't go to college. Well, I went to college for like a semester and a half, and then COVID hit, but I didn't go to college after that. But if you don't go to college in those 4 years, I'm gonna just be real, like, they're gonna be struggling. And not only are they gonna be struggling, but it's gonna be like they just gonna have their degrees to show for what they did over the past 4 years. Which it can't help them in the real world, or it can't help them in the real world. But over those 4 years, you can save at the minimum, if you have a job, a $30,000 job, and you're living with your mom, and you don't have to pay rent or none of that, you don't have no crazy debt like that, and you're not going to college. At a minimum, you can save $5,000 a year, saving $14 a day. Especially if you're doing DoorDash or anything like that, you can do $14 a day and save $5,000. And $5,000 over those 4 years is $20,000. Then I would be like, okay, it's cool for you to, you know, go out and look for, you know, apartments that cost from $1,000 to $1,500, you know, and you'll have something to show for it, you know. And also, I think I want to touch on that, on why to save that much before moving out, because moving is kind of expensive, especially if you're just like moving out, you know, by yourself and you don't really have a lot of help. Like, I didn't really have a lot of help, so I didn't have people to help me move. I had to pay people to move. That was like $800 to $1,000. I had to put a down payment down, you know, which was my first month rent. So that was like $1,000. You know, I had to, once I moved out, I think I saved up to like $7,000 when I moved out. So that's $2,000 gone already. And then I paid down debt, which was like $1,000. So now I'm down to like $4,000. If you don't keep track of your money, that stuff can go so fast, you know, like that. Like $4,000 is nothing, bro. Like that can go so fast. And then it's like, dang, I kind of need, you know, $500 for this, so you dip into your savings for that. Or dang, I need $500 for this, you dip into your savings for that. Next thing you know, you broke. And me, I think I was cool. I think I was floating. Like, I had a few bands in my I had like 2 or 3 bands in my bank account. But I got into like trouble with the police, I had to get bailed out. Then I had a court case, and I ain't never think it would happen to me. But life can change like this, bro. Like life can change. I'm telling you, life can change like this. So make smart decisions. You have to think for your future. This goes back to rule number 1: think long term. Anything you go that goes with drinking alcohol, saving money, staying up late, not working out, not eating right, that's under the mindset that you're not thinking long term, because that's gonna affect you later on in life. So I would save like at least $20,000. Because like when I moved out, just say that money's in half, and then after a year you gotta pay taxes. Now it's like, well, I had to pay taxes. I ain't get no taxes back because I do DoorDash. I pay taxes. But yeah, man, it's like you just want that cushion. Like if I went through what I would have went through, but I had 10,000 in the bank, I would have been straight. If I went through what I went, but I would have had like maybe like 5,000 left over, but I would have been straight. In terms of just not being broke at all, and to not feeling like I'm in a hole. I feel like I've been in a hole for like the past 2 or 3 years, and I'm just educating myself now, and I'm just climbing back out of that hole. And I'm glad I found it this early, but you can just completely avoid that. Like this could have completely been avoided. See what I'm saying? So especially if you have like 20,000 in your bank account, man, something can happen and you need to pay $5,000. Your car can break down. You're out on your own. Your car can break down, and you may need a new car. You could put down $10,000. You could put down $10,000 on a car, or $5,000 on a car, and not really skip a beat. You feel what I'm saying? Because you got 20,000 in your bank account for that emergency fund. See what I'm saying? So that's just very important to think long term. And when those people are in college and they come out, they're 22, 23 years old, and they had a degree, you're gonna have $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in the bank, and you're gonna have something to work with. So that degree, would you rather have a degree or $25,000 to be on your way to financial freedom? It's up to you, because a degree just means that you went to school for this one thing, so you can get a job in this one thing. You can use your degree to say, hey, I went to school for this, I got training for this, and that could make you a millionaire. It could make you a millionaire, it could make you a high 100,000 there. Or if you have $25,000, you can do a lot with that. And if you watch my videos, you can see, things that you can do with that. So that's number 2. And number 3, I would say educate yourself, because this kind of goes with 2. Like if you have that money, if you educate yourself, you're gonna know what to do with it. Like I can't really tell you. I can tell you what I'm gonna do with it. What I would do when I'm saving up right now. So when I save up, I can tell you what I'm gonna do with it, and you can do the same thing. But maybe that's something you don't want to do. Maybe you could find financial freedom in another way. So educate yourself, and it can be about anything. Like if you want to start a clothing brand, educate yourself on how to build a clothing brand, how to do it online, how to build a website, how to do this and do that. If you want to be an influencer, a YouTuber, educate yourself. Oh, how do I get the most views on the video? How do I get into the algorithm? How do I be a YouTuber? How do I do this? How do I do that? Like educate yourself on anything you want to do, because those people are going to school for education, and that education is important because they're learning it in their field of what they want to do, but they're still working. But you have to educate yourself on what you want to do, and you have to educate yourself even more, because they have teachers telling them, and you have yourself. You have to be disciplined to at least spend an hour on YouTube every day. Just listen to a podcast on something that you like for an hour, and educate yourself every day. And I promise you, you're gonna get so much knowledge quickly. So when you get that 20,000, you're gonna know what to do with it, like easy. So this video getting kind of long, so I'm gonna end this here, and I'm gonna make a part 2 of this video, because I didn't think it would be this long, but I have like 5 more points. But the next thing I want to say, it kind of goes with what I've been saying this whole video, is don't go to college if you don't need to. Don't go to college if you don't need to, because people go to college for a degree. So if you hit a business degree, like that's not really going to help you with nothing, unless you want to get into like a corporate job that's like business savvy, I guess. Like Like, I don't even know what that would be for, but like, if you're not specific on your degree, if you're not like, I want to be a surgeon, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be, a nurse, they got nursing school for that. If you want to do hair, they got, cosmetology school for that. If you want to be a chef, they got, what it's called? Start with a C. Y'all know what it's called. But, like, if you want to do something, go to that school for like go to that trade school for it. If you want to work on cars, if you want to work with technology, go to that type of school for it. Like, you don't have to go to these big colleges. You can go to the community college. But if you go to a big college and then get all that debt for boarding and rooming and food and the education and all that stuff, now you come out of college, yeah, you got your degree, yeah, you got that 6-figure job, but you also got 6-figure debt. You see what I'm saying? So it's just not worth it. And I understand some people say, oh, go for the experience, oh, go to network and make friends, oh, go to just have fun and party. And I understand that, but this life, like, it's serious, bro. Like, that time will pass you by. And I would say, like, use that time to really plan for your 20s. I think you should use that time to plan for your 20s. Like, that's such a critical time. That's such a critical time, because once you get out, it's only a couple more years until you're 25. So you midway through your 20s, but you only got like 2 or 3 years out of college. You only got 2 or 3 years into the real world at 25, versus you have 7 years in the real world if you don't go and think about what you're gonna do for that extra time. And it don't cost you nothing. Like, YouTube don't cost you nothing. All you gotta do is download the app. You look up anything you want. You can look up anything you want. Even the stuff that people go to school for and spend thousands of dollars on, you can look that up. But you may not can get that job without going to college. So go to college for those jobs. But if you just want to experience the network in your field, like I just said, all them jobs, like, network in your field. Go to a school for that and network in that field, or intern somewhere and network in there. If you want to be on a radio, go up to a radio, like a radio building, and ask, can you intern? Network with those people, and then they'll know people, and then they'll know people. You see what I'm saying? Not go to college and hope you find someone in your class, and so it's just like, I would say, don't go to college if you don't absolutely need to. But that'll be all for this video. This is part 1. I'll make a part 2 later. Make sure y'all tune in to know when that drop, or if it's up right now, go watch that. These are things that I wish I knew when I was 18, coming into the world. Things I wish I knew heading into my 20s. So yeah, I hope this helped a lot of people, or it's gonna help a lot of people. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and we out.